In the old, winding streets of Spain, where buildings lean against each other like tired friends, there's a rule. It's not written in any law book, but every grandparent knows it, and every child learns it through hushed warnings. The rule is simple: never ever answer your door after midnight. This isn't about protecting yourself from common criminals or late-night revelers. No, this is about something far older, far more sinister. It's about her. They call her La Niña del Segundo Golpe, the girl of the second knock. The stories have been whispered for generations, passed down in quiet conversations across dimly lit kitchens and over late-night coffees. They all start the same way. A quiet night. The city has finally settled into a deep, peaceful slumber. And then a knock. Two soft, almost polite taps on your front door. It's never a loud, aggressive banging. It's gentle, almost timid. If you look through the peephole, you'll see a young girl. She looks lost, maybe 10 or 12 years old, with long dark hair that hangs like a curtain over her face. She's wearing a simple white dress, but if you look closely, you'll see the hem is stained, as if she's been walking through mud or something worse. She whispers through the door, her voice small and pleading. "Please, can I have some water?" Or, "Please, I'm lost. Can I use your phone?" Her requests are always innocent, designed to pull at your heartstrings. It's a child, alone in the dark. Your first instinct is to help, to swing the door open and offer her safety. That is the deadliest mistake you can make. The legend is clear. Those who open the door immediately are never seen or heard from again. They vanish from their homes, from their lives, leaving behind nothing but an open door and a chilling silence. But what happens if you don't open it? Let's talk about a man named Javier. Javier was a skeptic, a modern man living in a historic apartment in the heart of Madrid. He loved the old architecture but scoffed at the old superstitions his grandmother had filled his head with as a child. He'd heard the stories of La Niña, of course, but dismissed them as folk tales meant to scare children into behaving. He was about to learn how wrong he was. One Tuesday night, Javier was up late, working on a project for his job. The clock on his laptop ticked past 1 a.m. The only sound was the low hum of his computer and the distant siren of an ambulance. Then he heard it. Tap, tap. Two distinct, gentle knocks on his heavy wooden door. Javier froze. His first thought was that it must be his neighbor, maybe locked out. He walked to the door and peered through the peephole. What he saw sent a spike of ice through his veins. It was her, a young girl, just as the stories described. Her dark hair was plastered to her unseen face, and her small frame was draped in a dirty white dress. "Please," she whispered, her voice muffled by the door. "I'm so thirsty. Can I just have a glass of water?" Every rational part of Javier's brain screamed at him to open the door. She was just a child. She was in trouble. But then, a memory surfaced, the voice of his abuela, his grandmother, echoing from a distant childhood afternoon. "Javier," she had said, her face serious. "If she knocks twice, you must wait. No matter what she says, you wait." The second knock is a test. The real danger comes after. So fighting every instinct, Javier stayed silent. He didn't move. He didn't even breathe. He just stood there, his heart pounding against his ribs like a trapped bird. The girl on the other side of the door waited. The silence stretched on, thick and suffocating. Then the knocking came again, tap, tap. But this time it wasn't gentle. It was harder, more demanding. The politeness was gone. "Please," she said again, but her voice had changed completely. It was no longer the small, innocent whisper of a lost child. It was a low, cold, guttural sound that seemed to vibrate through the very wood of the door. It was a voice filled with an ancient, chilling anger. A voice that didn't belong to a child. Javier stumbled backward, his breath catching in his throat. He felt a primal fear he hadn't experienced, since he was a small boy afraid of the dark. He kept his eyes locked on the bottom of the door, on the thin sliver of light from the hallway. And that's when he saw it. The shadow. Her shadow, cast under the door. It was long and distorted, but there was something horribly, impossibly wrong with it. Her feet were at the top, her head at the bottom, her shadow was upside down. It was the shadow of something hanging from the ceiling, not standing on the floor. Panic seized him. Javier scrambled away from the door, pressing himself against the far wall of his apartment, his eyes wide with terror. He didn't know what to do. He just knew he couldn't open that door. Suddenly, a third knock echoed through the apartment. This wasn't a knock. It was a slam, a violent, splintering bang that shook the entire doorframe, and then another and another. It sounded like someone was trying to break the door down with a battering ram. The innocent requests were gone. Now, there were only snarls and guttural growls from the other side. It was the sound of a caged animal, furious and hungry. Javier squeezed his eyes shut, praying for it to stop. And then, as suddenly as it began, it did. Silence. A profound, deafening silence that was almost more terrifying than the noise. Javier didn't sleep that night. He sat huddled in the corner of his living room, watching the sun slowly rise, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. He had never been so grateful to see the dawn. When morning finally came, he cautiously approached the door. His hand trembled as he reached for the peephole. The hallway was empty. There was no sign of the girl. He slowly, carefully, unlocked the door and pulled it open. The hallway was quiet. But his door was savaged. Deep, jagged scratch marks were gouged into the wood, splintering the finish. They weren't from fingernails. They looked like they had been made by claws, sharp and desperate. And then he saw the wall next to the door. Written in a dark, smeared, reddish-brown substance that he was too afraid to identify, were 5 words that would haunt him for the rest of his life. You were supposed to open it. The legend of La Niña del Segundo Golpe isn't just a ghost story, it's a warning. It's a test of your compassion against your instinct for survival. She preys on your goodness, your desire to help a child in need. So if you ever find yourself in Spain, or anywhere for that matter, and you hear 2 gentle knocks on your door in the dead of night, remember Javier. Remember the upside-down shadow. Turn off the lights, hold your breath, and stay absolutely silent, because she only asks Nasli twice. The 3rd time, she doesn't need your permission to come in. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more tales from the shadows, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And hit that notification bell so you never miss a new nightmare. Stay safe, and whatever you do, don't answer the door.